Welcome to Moss Marketing Mondays, aka the M3 Podcast. Brought to you by Moss Marketing Group, bringing you everything marketing every Monday. Stay tuned for marketing tips and tricks you can use today. The M3 Podcast, marketing knowledge to help you succeed. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the M3 Podcast. This week we got Dalton and Ricky on from the MMG crew. We got Dolan Hammons on. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I know we were off a week. We were supposed to have you on last week, but we I don't know. I'm going to say that was a Ricky messed up.
That was definitely my bad. I told him, I was like, hey, I looked at our text. I was like, hey, I'll send you a calendar invite. And then it was like, my next text to him was something like, hey, still good for tonight? And he was like,
what are you talking about?
Never sent that.
It's like, man, they don't want me anymore.
I said it and then just totally did not add you to it.
Yeah, no, it happens.
So we knew when it was. You did not.
Yeah.
You're supposed to read our minds.
I should have.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Next time, though,
you're on.
I got you.
Next time.
So you come out of roofing industry.
Yes.
So
roofing and contracting.
Roofing and contracting.
Mm-hmm.
So let's rewind. Where'd you go to high school? Where'd you grow up?
Grew up in Warrensburg, Missouri. That's where I'm still at now. Born and raised there. Went to high school there. Never left. I tried to. I joined the railroad after high school. Traveled around the country a little bit, but ended up back there. So I like it, obviously.
Were you running around on trains? Like, what were you doing for the railroad?
Just labor, swinging a hammer. I mean, we were doing a lot of derailments. We were a contracting company for like Union Pacific, BNSF, the bigger rails. Like if rail yard had a derailment or something, we'd go out there, emergency. We'd get shipped all over to build rail, fix rail, whatever. It sucked because they'd say, hey, you're going to Iowa for 4 days. They'd send me to Texas for a month. So I ain't got clothes for this. So I got burned out. It was fine because I was 18, not married, anything. So it was fun, but I knew that's not what I wanted to do at all.
So you're out doing that. When did that end?
So I think I did that close to a year. So like right out of high school, I went and worked for Dish Network doing satellite installs. That was first thing out the gate. I graduated early, joined the fire department, volunteer, still on now, going on 10 years. And because my boss for the satellite company was the captain on the station. So did that for a while and then joined the railroad and left, be back a bit, and then came back. That's when I started roofing as a laborer. And I started a crew of my own. And we were kind of doing the contract work as the subcontractors.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So you come back, was the roofing gig somebody that you knew? Is that something that you're like, hey, I got into it, maybe I'm just really good at this? Like with that transition, I feel like you're traveling everywhere, you come back, like I'm always kind of intrigued of like how people find jobs, like how somebody ends up somewhere.
There's always a story.
I know.
Yeah. So the story is I grew up in the trade. My dad was a home builder. After 2008, kind of went downhill to where he was doing mainly roofing. So about 8 years old is when he put me to work on a roof. And
so knew that there was a background somewhere.
You're lighter. You can get up on the ladders easier.
Exactly. That was the thing. And, you put me on my first roof when I was 4.
Oh, wow.
I haven't been down since.
So if you have him come out to your roof, it's all about 4 to 9 year olds.
It is about sometimes a 3-year-old just getting kind of comfortable. But no, so I was working with him. He had a couple guys and I was on the crew. So I'd be like after school, go help him. And then of course summers. And then whenever I came back from the railroad, I was like, oh, roofing's fine. It's safe. It's here.
Very safe.
Yeah, it's
high up, safe.
Second deadliest job in the world. But so I started a crew, some of my buddies, guys from the fire district. And my dad would do the sales. We would come in and do the roof. We would do the jobs. And then from there, still in the fire department, and then that's 2017 is when I had broke my back and couldn't roof anymore. So I was on a house fire, all that, different story. So from then I was out of work for a year and couldn't do anything. So I came back. I was like, what am I going to do with my life? I'm it's either make something myself or I'm a loser.
So when you broke your back and put you down for a year, what does a year of not working look like? That I bet there's probably a hell of a mental.
It's very tough. There's a lot of litigation involved with the work comp company. So, and my lawyers and constantly in courts and, litigations. So a lot of that, a lot of mental toll for sure. But at the end of the day, it's like, this is just temporary. What after this? What are you going to do? So I had actually started out mowing. I bought a stand-up mower because it was easier on my back to get my knees taken and everything. So I bought a stand-up mower and I actually grew that pretty large. I got about 75 accounts doing mowing. And the guys that were roofing for me, they went to work for my dad, but I grabbed one back with me and he was mowing with me and got that started. But still, it wasn't it. I wasn't growing it. I wasn't successful personally, it wasn't filling it. So I had people still asking me, hey, can you do my roof? They all knew me as a roofer. I was like, no, I can't. I'm sorry.
I can mow your yard, though.
I can mow your yard. I can do all that, but I can't roof your house. So I started telling people no. So I had this guy, he finally asked me, said, hey, can you do my roof? I said, yes. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Like, I knew nothing about contracting at the time. It's either I was going to do it or nobody was. And that was still the mindset. So I told him yes. I said, don't find anybody else. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it done. And so one day we were out mowing and I saw some guys on the roof. I'm like, this is it. So I went up to them and said, hey, do you want any more work? They gave me their boss's number, met up at Lowe's, talked prices, everything, and took a big leap of faith with this guy out of, Independence, Kansas City, up here in that area. And they came down, they did this house in one day that would have taken me about 2 weeks. Yeah, so I'm like, that's cool. Let's go see how they did.
Was that too fast?
Yeah, right. It's like, was that too? Like, this is weird to me. Like, So got all the work was really good. Got all their documentation, insurance, all that stuff. Like, work comp, they had their own work comp. I'm like, this is cool. So from then, I made a decent amount of money on this one job. I sit in the truck watching them work. I'm like,
didn't sound too bad.
I'm like, what is this? Like, this is so strange to me. Might be onto something. So that's when I really started my business with contracting. And then, I think I just discovered something that nobody else has. So I'm running to my dad. I'm like, hey, check this out. Like, this is cool. And he's like, no, that's not how you do it. That's not going to work. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. He's very old school, love him to death, but just kind of had that old school mentality. And it was very foreign to him. Just the whole business model and everything. So I said, well, I'm not going to be a loser the rest of my life. And this just worked this one time. It might work again. And so that's what I stuck with. I started a new name from what my dad had. And the guy, I eventually stopped mowing and just took that on full time. I went down my yards. I still kind of kept some for a couple of years just to be safe. But I really just took off with the roofing industry. And I still have that same crew today that started off with me the first day. Wow. And that guy that hired me on the first roof, still, I'm so thankful for him for taking that leap on me as well, for trusting me. To have this kid is like, I was 21 at the time. 21. And he trusted me, with his large project. It was an insurance deal. And so I'm forever grateful for that. And from there, just kind of took off and started learning business I had no idea about. Advertisements, hiring, employment, everything. Yeah. And so that's where we're at. Just been growing from there.
I think it's crazy when you talk about how, like, talking with your dad, like, you come up with something and you're like, hey, this is like the way I'm going to do it, like having a different idea of doing something, where my dad still, like, today comes in our office and, like, I think if you asked him what we did, I don't even think he could probably tell you. Right. But it was just like, in the beginning, he's like, you think this is a good idea? And it was like, I had everyone sitting there and they're like, well, like 98% of marketing companies fail in the first 2 years.
Yep.
I was like, what about the other 2%? I was like, I've never lived in the majority. So I was like, and it's thinking about things differently, but it's understanding delegation, understanding efficiencies, understanding that if those guys are sitting out there putting up a roof every single day and they're doing it that well and they have that much practice per se at it.
Mm-hmm.
That's like you coming off like in football and you're like, well, I haven't played for 2 years, but I'm going to go out and see what I got.
Yeah.
Like to someone else that's been practicing every single day of the week for the last 2 years. Like,
but also realizing how good you are at football to be able to teach that.
exactly. Yeah. So it's like understanding how those two things can go hand in hand, that it doesn't mean that you have to do the work every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a long time, even in the marketing space, to realize that. Like, I speak on it now, like, and I feel like a lot of times I'm speaking to my younger self.
Yeah.
That I was like, man, a lot of people told me that. I just wasn't really good at listening to what they had to tell me. Because people were like, you need to delegate more. You need to learn how to remove yourself. You need to learn how to build other leaders, all this stuff. I'm like, I know. I know.
Yep.
And then I look back, I was like, I definitely did not know.
Exactly.
I was like,
yeah,
There's also a big difference between knowing you need to do something and like actually doing the thing.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a lot of times there's a lot of people that read a lot of books about things, that they can listen to videos. And like I had a story on this morning about it, was so many people think that just having the knowledge is what it takes. It's executing and putting those into actionable steps every single day.
Yeah.
It would have been really easy for you and your dad to have that one conversation. You say, you know what? Yeah, like you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe I do need to do it all by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole entire book that you're writing could have been way different off of one choice.
Definitely. Yeah. Really self-awareness and seeing what you want in yourself and realizing that you might want better or different, and stepping outside your comfort zone of what you know, your family or friends know, and saying it's okay to be different than what they want for you or what they think. It's like my dad now, we used to butt heads a lot because that's not going to work. And so there was a while there we weren't even talking whenever I started my business. And we have a great relationship now. And I asked him, like, why was it like that? Why did we have such a rough patch? And the only thing he tells me is that you'll understand when you have kids, which he used to tell me all the time, but now I understand. He's like, it's this undescribable fear comes over you. Like when you have like your person take such a big leap, and it's like, it feels like it's out of your hands. Like he was scared for me. So now I can really appreciate that. That's how he was showing his love. But back then it's like, let me go,
Yeah.
So
it was crazy how, like, I feel like even the first time we met that there's a lot of similarities in the path, like,
mm-hmm.
especially at the start where my dad and I had a bad patch also. And it was like, but when it was in the beginning, I wish I could go back and probably listen to him more.
Exactly.
Because in the beginning I was so hard-headed, I thought I was being lectured on everything.
Yes.
I was like, Dad, I don't need your lecture today. Like, I'm an entrepreneur. Like, I'm doing it. I'm like,
got my big boy pants.
Yeah, I put my big boy pants on today. Yeah, it's like, but it was like, I butted heads with him a lot, and he was giving me advice that was good advice.
Mm-hmm.
I was too hard-headed at the time, and he's hard-headed too. So it was like we both butt heads over and over and over. But now it's like our relationship's better than it's ever been.
Yeah.
But it's like, I also feel like at this spot, you're 100% right, because they are scared for you when you take that step.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I even look at the people that joined here at MMG in the basement. Like, I know all of their parents probably looked at like, hey, what are you guys doing? Like, you're going to work. Ricky loved telling everyone he was working for
thing.
Lauren's like, stop telling people that.
I really emphasized the basement part. I was like, yeah, we're leaving the gyms we built to go work in some guy's basement doing social media or something.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I told it to my mom.
Yeah. Yep.
So and it's like, I know they probably all had the same responses from their parents. Like, what, come again? Like, you're doing what? That sounds like a terrible idea. It's like, I mean, if I had a child and I was like, yeah, I'm going to go work for some dude in his basement, I'm like, let's not do that.
It's like, I want better for you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I want you to be better.
I didn't quite pitch it that way. I didn't pitch it.
I want to hear how'd you pitch it?
I don't really know how I pitched it. I mean, come on, this was 3 years ago now.
Yeah, you're supposed to remember
3
that.
years ago.
You said, I'm going to go work for my friend in a spare bedroom.
Yeah, you start off in the bedroom. We were in the basement.
That
Yeah,
might have even sounded worse.
I'm working in a basement before a bedroom.
Yeah. And that bedroom was pretty hot. Got pretty
I
warm.
bet it was.
When Dalton started, Dre and Dalton sat on one side. We had one desk. They sat on one side. I sat on the other side.
Uh-huh.
So it was quite the trio up there in the single bedroom.
Oh yeah,
But
I have a very similar beginning. I mean, I was in a duplex and I was in my spare bedroom, and I moved up to my house whenever I eventually hired my first guy, and he started me in my kitchen table in my dining room. And it's probably the same conversation with his family, but I am beyond blessed to have him. He's now my operations manager, and I can only pray he retires with me.
Hey, there's no way he told his family. He didn't even tell him he was going to work at some guys.
I got a union job.
Yeah, I'm just switching. Yeah, just switching.
Yeah.
Switching positions a little bit.
Yeah, but he took a leap of faith with me as well, and I'm forever grateful for that.
I think that's a hard thing to thank people for. Is like
It is.
I've tried to, and it weighs different. Like now we have people coming day over day that want to work for MMG. Like
Right.
it's not like there's not a different level of like value, but it's also like I know that step now. Somebody coming in is like, dude, this is a cush deal. Like this is legit.
Uh-huh.
Like when they're coming into the basement, I'm like, hey. The electrician will be here tomorrow to put an extra outlet in where you're going to sit. Like you don't have an outlet over
And
there.
by the way, you got to build your desk.
Yeah, your desk is
Put
in
your
a
desk
box.
together.
Like,
That's your first job.
everyone show up in the basement. Their desk would be in a box to get ready, and it was just like, I mean, I look back at it now, it was an absolute shit show. And it's like when Ricky and Lauren started, I didn't have work for them. Like I literally just pulled a line of credit out against the house, and I told Madison, I was like, I'm gonna hire Ricky and Lauren, and she's like, you don't have the work. I was like, we'll find the work. I was like, they're good people. I was like, they're the right people to bet on. And she's like, your company can't just be built on betting on people. And I look at her, I'm like,
So far.
I'm like, I've batted pretty well. I was like, but it's like, I think you put the right people in place, and I mean, magic happens.
Yeah. So
Like-
well as right leadership in places too. I mean,
Yeah,
to be somebody they want to take that leap for,
Yeah.
come believe in you and what your mission is. I mean, that's huge.
I think it was because when we're in the basement, we go to the gym whatever time. I think that was
That's-
enticing for Ricky.
Well, we saw them coming in the gym at like 10 o'clock.
Was it that late?
Sometimes I think that one day he talked to David until like noon or 1.
That
Logan
was
was starving.
that was
Yeah.
true. I didn't come that day, and I was like, "What the fuck are these guys doing?"
Dude,
Like I was down. We did because we went back for like the 13 strong workout or something.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
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 So I think they literally just came back to pick me up, and then we left again.
So I was working at the front desk and I was making Dane a protein shake because we got a protein shake every time. They all did.
Uh-huh.
I almost killed Logan with some almond milk one time. He asked, "Is there any almonds in here?" I was like, "Nah." He's like, "You don't
It's
use
just
almond
almond
milk?" And I was like, "I guess besides the almond milk."
Oh man.
But anyways, my buddy was also from the automotive industry happened to be in town from Michigan, and Dane happened to be in there, so I introduced him, and they talked there for like at least 2 hours. So in my head, I'm like, evidently they don't work that much. They seem to be doing pretty well, and they're like messing with cameras. I like cameras.
This is
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, it seems like a good idea.
Yeah. So, yeah, but I think that's like the fun of like building something. It's like,
It is.
I've never looked at, I have a lot of people ask me like how I run so aggressively and everything I do. And I was just like, I believe in everyone that's standing around me.
Mhm.
And it's like, I feel that anything I go after, it's like, I'm not running into that fire by myself. I'm running in with fucking 20 people around me now. That's like, we can move mountains.
Yeah.
Like I look at now what happens in like a 1 day shift at the office used to take us like 2 months.
It's incredible.
Just from efficiencies of what everyone does, the output and everything, I watch it, I'm like, and it's like 1,000 times better. Like, I don't even know, like the multiplier of how much better it is. And efficiency wise, like, which I think that's just building product. I think that's building service. I think that's establishing the company.
Yeah.
So when you guys were working at the kitchen table, how did operations look every day at that point?
So like with us, luckily, we had a lot of jobs going on, so it wasn't a lot of time in the kitchen. It was a lot.
We lived in the basement in case you're wondering.
Yeah. It was a lot out of the truck, going to different jobs. But then when you go back to the kitchen table, write invoices, make estimates, kind of just strategize. It's like me thinking too, is like, what is your job going to be? I have you now. It's like, how can I really utilize you? I've never had an employee like this. That's not just swinging a hammer. So it was a lot of learning for me as well. I'm really like still in that same kind of phase, just to a different extent now. Like with my office, whenever I bring in a sales guy, it's like, hey, you could go work for a $100 million company and they have everything in place. Like everything's just so efficient. It's like, you're not getting that here. Like I'm trusting you and you're trusting me, but this is what we can build together. And so people still do kind of take that faith with me because we're still growing. And I don't have that quick, just real formal hiring process and everything in line, all your papers, and like we're getting there. But I need the right people. But it is an understanding that, hey, you could go work for anybody that's, a large company, and you walk right in and everything's set up. You get the company truck, you get the car, and you get everything. It's like, but here's what you're investing in when you're with me, and here's what my mission is. And really passing on your mission statement to your guys is so important. That way they can see your vision and want to grow what you want to grow. Otherwise, they're just there for a job.
Yeah, and I think a lot of companies miss the mark on the vision side as a whole, and they wonder why they can't get people to join. They wonder why people won't invest into what it is. And it's like, I think the early days when I told people my vision, even when I was like by myself, people thought I was like absolutely nuts. It's like, this dude's lost his marbles. But it's like after they started seeing those things like come to reality over and over and over, like then it's now it's something like so many other people outside of our walls are bought in on what we're doing. Mm-hmm. It's because they see the reality of what those dreams can turn into. And it's like, I look at it too, as a lot of times as a business owner and as a leader, your dream has to be big enough for everyone's dreams to fit inside of it. If somebody is within your walls that their dream is bigger than what yours is, you'll always lose them. Mm-hmm. And I look at it as like, I want everyone to be standing at that top spot with me. Like, I think a lot of people look at like how to leverage people to get themselves to that spot. I look at it as, I know a lot of people with a lot of money, like, and I've met those people that are standing at that top spot and they have fucking nothing. That money is not the all be whole success indicator. Money's great. Money makes business go around. Money makes it to where you can live a more comfortable life, that you don't have to worry about food or water or shelter, things like that. But it's also, I look as, I love going to work every day because of the people I'm around. Mm-hmm. Like the people I work with are the people I hang out with.
Right.
Like, this is my friend group. Like, but it's going to be a lot cooler the day that we pick up that jet. That thing is going to be full day one.
Yeah.
That it's not like it was, oh, I know dudes that have jets, they got them and they can't find somebody to get on it with them.
That's true.
Like, how sad is that?
Yeah.
And it's like, I look at those guys that have made it to that spot and had that kind of money. I wouldn't trade where I'm at. I'll take my life every single day of the week. Mm-hmm. Because work's fun. Like, most of the time I have to try to get myself to leave. Yeah. Like, I left the office shooting here at 5:45. Office still pretty much full besides people over here. Like, no one's chasing a clock. People like being there. It's when the clients, the people that we work with turn into friends, and it's like they're at the office all the time. It's like, how do you just make that experience better and better and better? And it's not always, I think a lot of times people think of it just as an external move, but it's like internal, I think, is almost more important.
So what's that look like, growing that culture? I mean, did you have that vision whenever you started, that this is what I want it to look like having such a culture that you do now? Or was it kind of like, I need this culture in order to grow? Or has it always just kind of been in place for you?
So pretty much I think everyone thinks I had this like master plan in my head. I mean, growing up watching Fantasy Factory, I thought Rob Dyrdek just having this like badass office, like foam pit and everything. I'm like, dude, that just looks fun.
Yeah. That's
like,
awesome.
So it's really just been building like fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think life is way too short. People put way too much emphasis on work, and it kind of overruns their life in every aspect. And it's, you can ask everyone around the office, like, I bring a lot of energy to that office every day. Like, I want it to be fun. I want to create movement. Like, I feel happiness is found in progression. Like, you have to be progressing forward, but it's like, I feel like that culture is just also like kind of cultivated itself.
Yeah.
that I think it's built off the people that like come in. We can so fast, like when we interview people, we could tell them, I tell them fucking 3 minutes if they're going to fit in or not.
Yeah.
Like they come in, they're like super blah and everything. I'm like, I would not hang out with that person. So they're not working here. But it's like, we don't hire off of resumes. Like we've hired off one resume and it was the worst hire we've
It
had.
didn't work out too well.
Did not work out very well.
But not hiring off resumes, it's like Darby that just started. I mean, Darby was in construction, reached out. He'd been in construction for like 6 years. He's like, I don't have any marketing background, but he's like, can I throw my name in the hat for a next hire? I was like, 100%. You want to let's sit down, meet next week. And he's like, I just want something that like is growing. That's like, he's like, I feel like I've been stagnant for 6 years. So it's giving people that opportunity to also grow.
Yeah.
I think when you get those like growth mind oriented people and that you don't shut down their runway and give them opportunities to scale, like that's what people want.
Yeah.
And it's in the car business. I left the car business because I hit the wall. 25 years old, I'd found the top of the line with where I was at, and I'm like, what's next? So you're sitting there, you're looking at what, 30 years of doing the same thing every single day.
So you get a lot more fulfillment out of what you're doing now than what you were doing there.
100%. I feel like now we're making a difference. I feel like we're moving the needle forward. Once again, internally and externally, I think our services are something that clients were looking for that they couldn't find what they needed, because that's why I built this, was because I couldn't find it. And I'm not going to say in the beginning I'd built it. I was far from making it in the mark in the beginning, but it's also the giving people opportunity to work somewhere that they can have a voice, they can be someone. Yeah. And it's, I don't know, I think that culture just kind of comes together.
Mm-hmm. So you're kind of like me to that sense. You find the fulfillment in serving other people, whether it's employees to clients.
Yeah.
The service. And
I think the service is something a lot of people lack. I think a lot of people put money first in business, and it's, I don't know, there's probably a lot of successful business owners out there that tell me I think completely wrong, but I wasn't given a book on how to do this all. I don't know if like you were, but
haven't found it yet. I'm trying to write it.
Yeah. Went to Barnes & Noble like 4 times, couldn't find it. But it's like, I don't think there is a perfect roadmap of how to build a business. I think there's key indicators that you need to like make sure that you hyper focus on. And I think service is, I think, very much at the top. That how do you serve the people that work with you? Mm-hmm. And it's how do you serve clients that, I mean, we had a meeting this morning. It's like, how do we make the experience better for the people that work with us?
Yeah. Where
are their pain points? How do we keep solving these problems? And we come up with new problems every single month. Like, that's never going to stop. And I think if you ever get to a spot where you think that you've done everything and you've figured it all out, that's when you should probably quit.
Are there any points that you can think of where it kind of felt like a watershed moment of there was some big obstacle that you were banging your head against, you made a switch, and then opened up that runway again?
Biggest switch. I mean, I guess mine was really just stepping outside of the comfort of what I knew. And a lot of that really started with commercial work. Like, I hadn't been on a flat roof, didn't know this material, siding, gutters, like other things with exteriors of homes people would ask me to do. And I would always tell people no, but then I take myself back to that first day. It's like, just say yes. Like, you have the heart to do it. You can get it done. It's no different. Like, just do that first day over again and over again. And we still do that weekly, is say yes, but don't overpromise. Know you can fulfill something. So I would say that, and then just really the mental blocks in your head of, this isn't comfortable. Like, growing a business is not comfortable. Like, spending this much money is not comfortable. Like, having this many people under you is not comfortable. But doing the hard things, that's been the biggest challenge for me. And what I can say I'm most proud of myself for is just overcoming it and just doing it and say, this isn't about you anymore. Like, you have people to serve, you have employees, you have homeowners, like, they're trusting you with usually largest investment. And that's really what's I've had the key advantage over in this industry is because roofing and, exterior trades, it kind of has a bad name. I mean, you think roofer, you don't, you have that kind of image in your mind. Like somebody's going to come up, take my deposit, never call me again, or they're not going to show up at all. Going to have a dirty landscape when they're done. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be hectic.
I think that's kind of turned into just contracting as like a whole.
It has.
Like you see it on these horror stories on social all the time about try to have these people finish my bathroom. They got halfway done. I paid them all of it. Not done.
Never saw him again.
So it's like, I think that's kind of just as the actual trades in general.
Very much so.
So
And that's where I saw myself to be different. It's like, show up on time and do what you say you're going to do. And with that, I mean, you won't be able to keep enough people happy. Like it'll just come to you. And that's what it's been. It's like, oh my God, this guy did what he said he was going to do. I'm going to tell all my friends about it. And it's just word of mouth. And we still run into people like saying, oh, you're a roofer. Like, show me all your papers and, really trying to vet me, which is fine. I'll show them everything. I'll let them call any reference they want. But it's like, I'm here to prove to you I am different and I'm going to service you different. And if you're looking for the cheapest, we're not always going to be the cheapest, but here's why. We provide such a higher quality in our service. And it's not just roofing to me. It's not just putting your roof on, collecting your check. It is a service we're providing to homeowners because they're trusting me with their house. I'm going to give them the most top quality that I can. And same with my people too. It's just servicing people. And that's just our biggest mission. So I guess that.
Those are both huge things.
Yeah,
That's
I guess
massive.
that.
I think a lot of people discount how much weight is in showing up and doing what you're going to say.
It's huge.
That's actually became kind of a rarity in today's.
If you at least show up on time and do what you say you're going to do, you're ahead of a lot of the game.
Exactly.
I feel like you've beat 85% of your competition that fast.
Yeah, honestly. Or communicate if you're not going to be there.
Yeah.
But
communication.
Easy to talk to.
Yeah.
But like that was one of our biggest things when we started was communication.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was sitting on the other side of the table for marketing companies. Like communication was terrible.
Yeah.
Like it's almost a joke. Like we'd have companies that we were spending 30, 40 grand with a month and I couldn't get someone on the phone. Like I was like a nobody to them. And then you finally get like Chad that sold you on the phone and he's like, yeah, I can have the marketing team reach out to you in 3.5 weeks. Yeah. I'm just like, this like at halftime I thought I was getting pumped. Like, and it's just like, and I think in the trades, I think you probably run the same thing that it's like, we have a general contractor that was just on the podcast last week that they redid my deck. I told him, I was like, I've reached out to 6 deck companies, 3 of which showed up to look at it. And I was like, had money. I knew it was going to be expensive. I knew I needed to do additional joists across it because I was going to Trex. I knew it wasn't going to be cheap. I wanted to do all the aluminum railing on it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, they came to us for marketing. I told them, I was like, we're only going to do your marketing if I can get a legitimate bid on my deck. Period.
Just a bid.
I was like, just a bid. And they're like, what? I was like, I have 6 companies so far I've talked to, and I do not have an active bid on my deck.
Wow.
And I'm like, how these people like, I would like, I don't know. It baffles me as a business owner.
It's a shame. I mean, it's one of the most simplest things you can do, and you can just take off from there. It's like, just be a good person.
Yeah.
Communicate, show up, do what you say you're going to do. So easy.
Or just hustle a little bit. Like,
yeah. Yeah, it's a drive. I mean, you really have to want it. I mean,
so I think a lot of people say they want it, but they don't really want it.
That's true. And to that, I mean, do something else. Do what makes you happy for sure. Yeah. It's definitely not for everybody. I think you know that.
And I think there's a lot of people that say they want it and they just want to sound like they want it all the time, but their actions that they put in place every day speak something completely different. Mm-hmm. That, I mean, I've sat at tables with people that they want all this stuff, but then you start actually listening to what day to day looks like for them. I'm like, you're actually just full of shit.
Yeah.
Like, and you've been talking about that for 4 years and everything you've been preaching. I can tell you why you haven't ended up there.
Yeah. It's a shame, especially whenever you invest your time to somebody that you think actually does want it and you want to help coach them and lead them. And then you come to find out it's like they just kind of want that outward image of like, oh, I want all the nice stuff. I want the money, the this and that. It's like, that's not what it is. There's so much to it. You can't just walk into something and say, I'm a business owner and just get money pouring in.
Yeah. So when you talk about coaching people, like when you have people come in, and what does coaching look like to you, and like what forefronts are you working on helping people?
Yeah, so I mean, leadership is one of the biggest seasons I'm in right now in my life, is working on my leadership and seeing how I can improve it. Because I've had a lot of bad leadership taught to me, and I've portrayed a lot of bad leadership, and I can recognize that. So right now, I'm trying to figure out what's the best approach to leadership. How can I be the most efficient leader? And I realize it is listening most of the time is like, what are your needs? Like, how do you learn? What are your goals? And what can I do to help you get there? And really turning that viewpoint of somebody that works for you, having the mindset that you work for them and you're here to serve them and, you know, get on their mission too. It's like, do you want to grow in the company? Let's get you there. What do you need to succeed? And what does that look like for you? Being involved, just like, you have your friends, like being involved with their life, like knowing that they know that they have somebody they can trust, in the company that is really there and invested in them. It is a lot. The most successful training and leadership I've had would be shadowing. And I'm trying to really figure out how I can take my shadowing kind of experiences with people and automate that. So I don't know if that's going to be, videos or trainings or what, because whenever people come out with me and shadow me and kind of see how I want them to speak to homeowners, how I want them to bid a roof, how I want them to write that up, it's like they can mirror me. And it's like, oh my gosh, like I just did that. Now somebody else is doing it the same way because they appreciate it and they were able to learn from me, like out on the site, looking at a job, like they can pick up on things of how I want it done. So it's a constant learning cycle with leadership and coaching. That's something that I don't think anybody can ever cap out on and be perfect. It's
absolutely not.
It's always room to improve. And I think realizing that will make you the best leader, is realizing there's always room for improvement and that each person is going to be different. And yeah, you can kind of put it all together as a whole, set everybody down, make them watch a video, but to really succeed in people's lives, you have to kind of tailor it to them and what their goals are, what their visions are as well, versus just yours.
Yeah, I'd 100% agree with that. What would you say out of... Well, I'm also kind of intrigued on the automation side. Like,
okay,
I'm always intrigued on like automating things, efficiencies. There's a lot of things that we've tried to automate that have backfired.
Mm-hmm.
That I go back and forth on automation. There's a lot that I've had people tell me that we need to automate X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, I think that messes up what our product and our service is. And so I'm always kind of, I'm trying to formulate like a question out of.
What does it look like for you? Like, what has not worked in automation?
It's like most marketing companies use software to automate posting across all platforms for like, say, one company where we plug it into one system and it automates and it just goes out to to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all of it. So almost every marketing company runs that way. Mm-hmm. And at one point we tried to automate, plug everything in, and we saw all of our engagement, everything drop off the map for accounts. So we went back to manually posting on so we manually post every single post on platform for every account that we have. Mm-hmm. But it takes a lot of additional manpower. To our manpower load is much heavier than the next. And I've had multiple people that are like, well, just automate that. I'm like, then it really actually jacks up our system of what we do and what our service is. And I feel like it makes it not that gold standard anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's also the same thing as like, I've thought about how to automate training side, but I don't think any two people learn the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like, how do I put something into video format to say, hey, I'm going to teach you how to do this. I'm going to teach you how to do this. I'm going to teach you how to do this, but it's all going to look one way, even though I know all three of you guys learn different.
I think that a lot of that's like where the culture comes in. Like, yeah, like any big corporations, you're going to have those videos you have to sit down and watch and sit through. Is anybody actually listening?
I mean, I've been through them before, and it's like,
I have too. Like,
it's like, how fast can we get this done?
exactly.
Get on to the next thing.
And like, I never want a point in time where like we have a company, we have 250 people, and we hire somebody new and we like shut them in an office and like watch videos.
It's like, hey, I know this is like your second day here. You signed paperwork for your first day. Second day's videos all day.
Yeah.
And they were made in the 80s.
Yeah.
So
Good luck.
Here's the VHS tape.
Yeah.
Well, I can see the importance of those training videos. And yes, it's important for your company structure. And if you have 250 employees, to show everybody that part, sure. But you should not solely base people on their training off of that. It's what happens after those videos with the culture and how you build that culture in your leadership teams. Once they come out of that training room, they walk into, okay, I watched it. Now I see it within the team, within my leaders, like, you know, what to follow with them instead of walking around like
So
robots.
are you talking more so automating it from more people that are teaching it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think you can use people as an automation as well. Kind of like what you're saying with the post and stuff. It's like you can automate with more people to post. Okay, well now it's costing you more money, but then you can also set yourself apart in the industry because we're not automating. We have that personal touch to it, and this is why we're more expensive because we're 10 times the company, and you can charge people for that. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. And since we've started, I've never been in the race to the bottom. I think a lot of people get in business and they race to the bottom for the cheapest. And it's because they don't know how to build value points on what they have.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't understand how to sell value, you sell price.
Yeah.
And when people live on price, it's a race to the bottom, you lose. And it's especially in the service industry.
All the time.
And you can have and that's what, there are certain companies that are really big that you can have your certain anchors that there's big, huge plumbing companies out there that they're going to have set anchor. You're going to have the HVAC companies that have a cheap monthly or a quarterly checkup or something, that those aren't their money makers, but it's their anchor to put them back onto someone's system. So it's like, I look at, there's same thing with oil changes. People look at oil changes all the time. Like smaller companies will look at these big dealerships like, how do they make money on those oil changes?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, they're not. They lose on every one of them. But that's not put in place for them to make money.
Right.
That's to put more vehicles through that service department that they can then do struts on. They can then do tires on. They can then go through someone's vehicle and give them a free 140-point check of things that they need to fix that they can make money on.
So
They're much more profitable than trying to compete on an oil change.
it's a free roof inspection.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like you want to be on as many roofs as possible. But it's like when you go to bid that roof, like what are those value points that you lean onto as a business owner to build value?
I mean, it all starts from the initial phone call of who's answering and how does that phone call go? And am I getting customer service? And how soon is somebody coming out? It plays a decent part in it, but hey, if we're going to be 2 weeks out, we're going to tell you it's 2 weeks out. It's usually not the case. But it's 100% communication from that first phone call, listening to the homeowner's needs, getting out there, even just looking different. You walk in, you're dressed nice, your shirt's tucked in, you don't look like a roofer, if that makes sense. And if you look like you take care of yourself, you're in decent shape, they look at you and say, oh, you take care of yourself, you're going to take care of me. I really want to show that.
Yeah.
And then, getting the bid, not taking 2 weeks to get a bid back to him. And it's also like, okay, you see all the yard signs in your neighborhood, like your neighbors are trusting us, like that speaks volumes as well. And then just the final, like all the way through from the phone call to collecting the check to the next storm we have. I mean, I tell my guys, like, these aren't customers. These are going to become people that are a part of your life. Because it's not just we collect a check and then we write them off. Like, we're checking up on these people. I have people call me like for referrals for, painters or whatever it is, or to tell me about their vacation. Like, I've made, lifelong friends with my customers. And they can see that in me, that I'm not there for a check. I'm really there to serve them. And that's where I get what makes me happy in my business. That's kind of what our model is that we're here to serve you, provide a service that nobody else is going to. It's going to be like unlike anybody else can. We're not just putting on a roof. We're building a relationship. We're going to be here. I tell people, like, stuff goes wrong. Yeah, you might get a flat tire in your driveway after we're gone. Like, it happens. You have nails left over. You might have a roof leak. I don't tell everybody that, but you might have a roof leak. But what happens when you do after the roof is done and you do have a leak? Are they going to come back? Because we are. And we're going to take care of it. And it's going to be completely seamless. And that has happened. We've had jobs we've done where something was missed and their roof has never leaked before, but now it is. Okay, we're back immediately. We're taking care of it. We're painting your house. We're redoing drywall, whatever that might be, whatever that looks like. And so they really see that in us of how passionate we are about the business and how we serve people. That really just sets us apart.
What would you say the volume of your work that you do now that is referral? Would you say it's a pretty large portion?
99%.
So I think that speaks volumes in a lot of business models is when you do something that somebody's willing to refer you. And that was something that I've taken a lot of pride in the marketing space, same thing in the automotive space, where a lot of people try just to sell a car once and then it's like they don't care about the person after.
Mm-hmm.
They're busting bugs down the road and then on to the next deal.
Yeah.
Like I pride myself in like taking care of those people after the sale. And I mean, there's books written on the follow-up. Like they say that the follow-up's more important than the sale. And I feel like the sale truly begins after the sale's done.
Yes.
To where there's a lot of people that have a lot of skill to go sell something one time, but then it's like, what does it look like after that? I look at it in real estate all the time. My wife's in real estate and I watch how terrible real estate agents are, that they're like, oh, so-and-so's just not loyal. They didn't use, I sold their house 3 years ago and they didn't call me back to use me again. How many times have you talked to them in the last 3 years? Once. I was like,
Yeah,
I was like,
him at the grocery store. Yeah.
so I'm like, you contacted these people one time and then you expected them to use you again.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it kind of just blows my mind of like how
It's a mindset.
it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, my wife, like, I think she's the gold standard of follow-up. I kind of outlined it from what the car business was. I was like, hey, this is like everything I've been taught. I was like, if you take this to the real estate space, I was like, I think it's going to be huge. And then she's like amplified it 10 times over.
Good.
And it's like birthday card goes out to every single person on their birthday. Their home anniversary, they get a card on home anniversary. Like when Cinco de Mayo comes around, you'll come to our house, we'll have like 100 Cinco de Mayo baskets around the house. She goes and sets them out. Like where every other real estate agent sells like out or pumpkin pies for like Thanksgiving, and they'll sell them to their clients for like $5, and then they're like, yeah, you can go pick it up in my office. My wife literally buys them for every one of her clients. She's like, it's $5 a person.
Yeah.
Or like a household. She goes and loads them up in her car and she drives around for 2 days straight delivering these things.
Wow.
That's like, is it what she wants to do at the time? No. But it's going and knocking those doors, seeing those people, seeing how they're doing, talking with them, conversating with them. And it's like, that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's turned her business into the amount of referral stuff that it comes from. And it's like, we're seeing it now that it's like the referral stuff that's people come in, they're like, I know so-and-so, I know so-and-so. This person told me to call you guys. And it's just like, somebody put something on Facebook. There's 10 people that put their own name in the hat. And then there's 20 people that refer us.
Yeah.
And then when we're talking to those people, they're like, well, you guys are a lot more expensive. I was like, well, we were the only ones that didn't have to put our own name in the hat.
Yeah.
So I'm like, does that say anything?
Yeah. Yeah. It shows.
So that's where I think that the fact that you have that amount of referral work, also being as new as you are, like that is something that you have to hyper focus on so much to make sure that service level is always there to keep acquiring that, because that'll make it to your business can be as big as you want.
It's a fear too when you have like all these people that will like actually stick their neck out for you. It's like, oh, me? it's like I won't even like stick my neck out for people. It's like they're doing it for me. Like all these people. It's like, man, I have to protect this. I don't have another option. Like I cannot let these people down. And I won't. Which,
and I think it's something that's good pressure to have.
Yes.
Like I love that pressure. Like I feel like it puts us on the stage and it's like our time to shine. Like that's what we have 4 years in it, but it's like, that's what we've put the 4 years up for, is to get this time on stage.
Yeah.
And it's like, go up, make it happen. And it's like, and once again, I'm very, very confident in what we do because I have an amazing team around me. So
works.
I mean, I'll put them up against anybody.
Yeah.
So but it's like, I look at that as something that that referral side, that service, like you're getting the opportunity, and then the snowball effect becomes wild. Like, and I feel like the momentum is something that you're going to. I don't see your business being a issue for acquisition of work side. Your business, you're going to run into the exact same thing that we've ran into. Acquisition of work side's easy for us. It's an acquisition of employment. That you see it on fast scaling companies, that the biggest thing that hinders them from growth is acquisition of employment. Yeah. And like our marketing play, people ask us all the time, like, you guys don't post marketing stuff, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what most people don't know is the majority of our marketing is for acquisition of employment. Yeah. That's why we put up taco reviews, whiskey reviews, podcasts, Fit Check Fridays. That stuff is culture building, giving names to people in the office, showing that people can be a part of something. And it's like, that's what the marketing play is. And I think in the future, your business, your service is right. It's how do you scale it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also try to teach a lot is steady, manageable growth. You see a lot of guys, they want to take off too fast and they can't manage it, and it's not steady. So kind of, wanting to grow aggressively, but not getting ahead of yourself. What is manageable to me? What is going to make sense? What's not going to be too fast? And a lot of that is, we'll have a lot of seasons with roofing. It's really busy and then dead. It's like, can I hire 20 full-time people? Not yet. So kind of figuring out, like, your numbers are so important. Like, okay, we've grown this much last year to this year. Like, this is what we have to look forward to. And we can't have one rush in a busy season just start panic hiring, because we know in a month it's going to die back down, steady out. So it's how do we manage those, tough times, those busy times with what we have, and also how do we look forward to the future to have the best possible growth?
Because the way I think about it too is like when the multipliers start happening, where in the beginning, a lot of times people think, okay, if you have 50 clients, you're getting referrals from 50 people, and those people refer to another 25 people. Now you have 75 people, and then you're also picking up new work. Now all of a sudden you're at 125, and then the referral side is going to get to a spot that, like, same thing my wife has experienced right now. Like, she's like, the referral side has gotten so out of control that it's like she's having to hire other people trying to keep up with just the referral side. Mm-hmm. Like, with no acquisition of new work right now, to where it comes to a spot, and like the last thing you're going to ever want to do is be like, you have a referral that, hey, Steve told me you guys did a phenomenal job, and you're like, hey, we're too busy, we can't do your job. Yeah. That's like, and that compounding effect is something that, like, it kind of happened overnight for us. Like, we were sitting there, like, we were getting business, and like things were like, at one point I was like, I'm all about the steady growth. Like, that was like my deal. Is I'm like, we're making the same moves every kind of 6 months, and all of a sudden it was like this snowball caught like all this traction. I was like, holy shit, like a lot's happening. Like, and all of a sudden it was like so many moving parts so fast that it was like, I think sometimes trying to hold it back is almost worse. Mm-hmm. And it's because, I mean, for a long time I was like, steady growth. And all of a sudden it was like, kind of just, now all of a sudden we have work coming from every single different direction, that sending leads out to the guys every single day to call this person, call this person, call this person. I got a text message from this person. We got these website leads. We got 20 people reached out on social today. It's just like, so much movement happens that sometimes it does almost feel overwhelming.
I kind of forgot it wasn't like that 6 months ago.
I know. It was like 6 months ago. Shit like kind of took a whirlwind.
Took off, yeah.
Yeah, it is a little bit different.
Yeah. And it was just like, but it's one of those, it's something that I'm so thankful for. Like, but it's also what we have moving right now. 12 months ago, I thought the movement we have right now would take years. Mm-hmm. And trying to figure out, I thought 12 months ago, I'm like, I don't even know where to start to like manage something like that. And then you're just like thrown into that uncomfortable state every single day, and you're like, I got to figure it out. Like,
you have to.
There's no one for me to go to ask, like, get a final say on anything. Right. I make decisions day over day. Are they correct? I have no earthly idea.
We'll find out.
Yeah. I make decisions and it's like game time. Like, I mean, you have a coach of a football team. It's not like every play they pick, they know perfect play. Yeah. They have no earthly idea. They've analyzed what's taking place and they're hoping that's the right play based on the people you have on the field, everything like that. Hopefully you're making the right call.
Put some trust in it.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Exactly. So it's like pretty much like there's things I put in place. I'm like, that definitely did not work. Back to the drawing board, peeps. Like, what are we doing now?
But you wouldn't have known if you didn't do it.
Yeah. But it's like, I look at it as like, we're going to fall down. We're going to mess things up. And it's like, now it's trying to figure out the processes to scale. 6 months ago, I wasn't even thinking about processes really. We like slightly discussed it here and there. We're like, we
Definitely didn't start setting any processes in place though.
Yeah.
Not at all.
We're like, man, we need some processes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really need that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it next week.
That'll help.
But
Boy, we still need some processes.
yeah, it's I'm like,
Where's our process guy?
yeah, it's not going to make or break anything. And now it's like, we sit there and like, we're figuring out how do we onboard 10 more people in the next 2 months.
We also, it's a little bit like we fell into the trap of being, like, should we have a process? Totally. Do we really need a process to like say onboard this next guy tomorrow? No.
Yeah.
We'll just handle it when he gets here. It'll be fine. And that works up until a point. It doesn't really work anymore.
Yeah.
And you got to have the processes in place to take care of all that.
Well, it's when you start putting more, now we have so many pokers in the fire on one account. They used to be like, okay, you came in, talked with me, you're good to go. Like, it's my brother, and then Dalton or Logan. It's pretty much your only points of contact. Like,
Yeah.
and that, like, and we would have a group chat, like anything on any account would come into our group. Or if you talk with Ricky, like he was doing the content for a long time, him and Jaime. Torres, like, you have a content question, it's going to be the two of those guys. Like, nobody else. Like, and now it's like, we have a council. I'm like, did anybody talk to so-and-so? And they're like, oh yeah, I did. I was like, oh, okay. Good thing I didn't call them today. I'm like, and it's just, there's so many like moving parts now that it used to be somebody just on board. I mean, there was no process to it. Now it's like you get a whole like email that introduces the marketing leg, introduces Lauren. She's going to be scheduling your content. You're going to have a project manager that's going to text you every single Monday, everything that's taking place. You're going to have reporting that comes over every month. You're going to have a text that comes over once a month to schedule all your content now. It's all done via calendar. Like it makes it to where the whole operation can actually move without us just running around like chickens with our heads cut off. Because for a long, still even to today, I just tell people when I hire them, like, welcome to the shit show. I'm like, and when Alex came on it, Alex is very much an operations person that's actually helped us out a ton. That when he started it, I told him, I was like, he showed up, he's like, I know you told me this was a shit show, but it's kind of like a shit show. I was like, I wasn't lying.
It's like a literal one, dude.
He's like, you guys could be a lot more efficient at what you do. I was like, I mean, go for it, bud. I've been looking for answers. So I'm like, I just don't know how to do it. And that's not my forte.
We also didn't have the bandwidth too.
No. And it's like, once again, it was like, we would talk about like, we need a process for this. We're like, well, we got 4 content shoots today. So content's all going to be out of office. And then it's like, they're like, well, I need all these ads up today. They're drowning in work. And then it's like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I have these 3 or 4 meetings today. So it's like, we'll just onboard them tomorrow. No process. Like we currently have.
That's like the last one.
Yeah.
Worked last time. They're still here.
Yeah. Still working. So,
Yeah.
but no, I think it's a weird spot to hit in business that it's the book Scale Up talks about like complexity level and how fast the complexity of communication happens in a business. And I think I kind of read that and I thought it was like bullshit because it was talking like 2 people have complexity of 2. When you go to 3, you go to 4. When you go to 4, you're going to 8. It's doubling every single time your complexity level as people are coming on, and they're like, and it gets so out of control so fast on how complex a business becomes. And I'm like, there's no way that every one person like doubles the complexity level. And all of a sudden, like now we're hitting 20 people. I was like, dude, that was pretty close to right. I was like, because we had gotten up to like 15 threshold, then we backed back down. And I hadn't sat down to build a leadership team towards every single person was answering to me, which like my bandwidth of people answering to me was roughly right about 15. Like I could not outscale the 15 with everyone answering to me. to when we backed back down, it was, okay, now it's time to, we put process, not even processes at that point, but it was, we put a leadership side in place that then when people come on, who do they answer to? That was like,
The business had a little bit of a structure to it,
Right.
from the organizational side.
well, we thought we did until Alex started.
Was at least it was much better than it was.
It,
It was-
I mean,
it was
we were
moving
making
the right
we were
direction.
making little takes towards the right direction.
So why did it take you up to about 15 people before you started building that leadership team? Did you have, like, what was your biggest struggle, like, with that kind of delegation outsource with the leadership?
I think up to that point, everyone had their roles of getting stuff done.
Yeah.
That I didn't feel we had enough people to build out the structures of a leadership side for people answering to someone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it was a amateur move by me, like not knowing what I was doing. Like,
First time or something?
yeah, but it was like, but the funny thing was, like, when I got up to that, then people like we had a few people quit, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like at the drawing board, I'm like, what happened? You know, it was realistically, it was just poor leadership by me, poor management. They had no management. Like, people were starting. I'm like, I'm going out trying to sell some more accounts, like talking to people, and they're like, sit there. And, like, they had no direction of what to do when they would come on. And like, I'm not even saying it's even close to perfect now.
Yeah.
Like, we had 2 dudes start this week, and we've been so busy as an office on we've been trying to get our onboarding cycle handled last week, which it was pretty close to finalize. Like, I think these will be the last hires that like come on without like first day direction.
Right.
But now we've like put processes in place. So it's like day one, this is what your full first day looks like. This is who you sit with. This is that onboarding that you were talking about. Like, you go to that big company and like you have some direction. Like, when Ricky and Lauren started first day in the basement, they're like, they didn't even really know what they were going to do. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't even know what they were going to do. They got there and I'm like, hey, like, we need to find more work. And they're kind of like, oh, okay.
Well, now.
I didn't really tell them that, but like when I hired them, I was like, I think they were like, I'm like, I'm going to pay you guys, like, still, like what we talked about, but we just need to find some advance. Like, I got a little extra money, so
That situation is just not gonna work really long unless something changes a little.
yeah. So unless we figure this out,
Yeah.
well, none of us are going to be here. We go back to our normal jobs.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
But no, I think that, I don't know, it's every time I get to a point, I kind of look back and I'm like, why did I not
Mm-hmm.
recognize that earlier?
Yeah.
So I wish I could figure out a better way to see in the future and see things faster, because we'll be at probably 30 or 40, 50 people. And then we'll look back and be like,
Yeah.
why didn't we do that? Like,
Exactly.
You gotta spend your time thinking about the future.
I do. I don't know if I think about
You
the
got a
right
lot
thing.
on your plate still.
Yeah, I just don't know what I'm looking at out there. I think I'm looking at the future. I
It's kinda foggy.
yeah, it's kind of foggy. I don't know what I'm seeing. So, what do you see with the future with where you're going?
Where I'm going, so we're in Kansas right now. We got a license in Kansas. My kind of vision, I'd love to be in Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri, and really build just a solid leadership team to run, an office here, maybe one in Kansas City, and then, start again down in Oklahoma in the Tulsa area. And the
I
biggest,
feel like that's an oddly specific area,
yeah, it is.
like Tulsa. Like, is there a reason for that?
I like Tulsa.
I like it there.
You watch Tulsa King, and it's just a cool place.
But no, I mean, I used to go down to Tulsa every weekend. I'm actually going down this weekend.
It makes a little more sense.
It's a great economy, just a great Christian area, a lot of good values down there. And it's also in Tornado Valley, which is cool for me.
Good for the roofing industry.
He's like, yeah, I'm going to build this line right here. I like all these places. They're like, why? Because this is where tornadoes.
Yeah. Somebody's getting hit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You ever like I've been in Warrensburg my whole life, and that's the only other place I've been. I've been in a lot of places. It's like, this feels like home. And it's somewhere I can see myself building a family and having kids raised up. But I don't want to lose what I have. So my biggest goal is to be able to build other leaders, build other teams that can run things efficiently. Like we talked about earlier, if we're not there, nothing changes, and that's a great thing. That's a good thing. So, and like I said, like my leadership right now is my main focus of how I can be a better leader, bring more people on, train more efficiently, and get more like-minded people that have the same vision as me to help me build, my dream. Also, I'm in real estate as well, rental properties. So I really want to grow that up. And I see fulfillment in that with serving people, giving them housing. And it's like, what do you mean? Like, you take their money? No, there's more to that, in real estate. And so I really like that. I find a lot of joy in real estate and in rental properties. So I want to get more involved with that, get some more properties going, and then expand that out to like the KC area and then also down in Oklahoma as well, and kind of see where it goes from there. But right now, that is my main focus, business-wise. Right now, I'm really working on building a strong relationship with God and getting close to Him and looking to Him for guidance, because I've leaned on my own guidance a lot in my life, and it's got me absolutely nowhere. And I've tried to really fill voids in my heart too, like with business. Like, okay, like you got the money, you can buy the truck, you have this, like you have the house, you have the land, you have the motorcycle. But it's like it's not there, the heart wasn't full. And then I would get kind of a taste of it. You hire somebody, you train them, they're making money. Okay, you got some of that. So, and I really have learned that the only person that can fulfill a heart is the one that made it. And so chasing after that has been huge for me. It's really went a long way in my success and living out what I think I'm here to do, which is to please God and serve people. So that's kind of the mission I'm on, is how can I fulfill that, and how can I serve as many people as possible, and really look at that as the goal and not the money, because it's not about the money. I mean,
money comes secondary.
You can use people to get money, or you can use money to serve people, and that's where there's a fine line that people can get wrong.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with making money. I've heard you say before, profit is not a bad word.
It's not.
But how do you use that to serve people and to grow people?
Yeah,
it's really important.
I think a lot of times people look at profit as they correlate profit with greed.
Yes.
And those two words do not go together.
No.
There is ways that they can when people get greedy about profit, but a business to run has to have profit.
Absolutely.
And we live in a society that people want no one to make any money. That they look at it as like they want to take all profit out of something. Mm-hmm. And it's like I've drawn a pretty fine line in the sand that I want the people that I do business with to make money. I don't negotiate with my friends. I look at it as if it's a fair deal both ways. It's a fair deal both ways. And people don't negotiate our marketing. If you think that we make too much money or whatever it may be, great, go find someone else.
You don't negotiate gas prices.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's just, I think that's a messed up part of our society now I think there are greedy people out there that ruined it for a lot of other people. Mm-hmm. But it's also, we live in a society that if you can figure out how to solve big problems, you can figure out how to make money.
Yeah.
To solve a bigger problem, make more money.
Use more money to solve more problems.
Exactly. It's the evolution of it. So it always is going to keep evolving. It's going to keep getting bigger. There's going to be bigger problems in the future. That you look at what the automotive space has turned into over the last 20 years. Look at what the housing industry has turned into over the last 20 years. Evolution is going to keep happening. It's how can you be a piece in it that is solving more problems? Mm-hmm. So, final question. If you could go back to yourself, day one of business. I normally go back to like 21-year-old self, but I'm going to go back to, I think I'm going to change up my question.
Okay.
I think I'm going to change up my question. What were we, like 100 and...
Well, I think this might be 127.
127 episodes in, I think we changed the question now. So you go back to day one entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Day you start your company. What's one word of advice you'd give yourself?
Day one, don't wait so long to get that relationship with God. I mean, that's as silly as it might sound to some people, but I started out with that vision of I can do it, I'm going to do it. But there's so much more to it, and really finding what your purpose is and how you're going to touch the lives that you want to, and determining what that is and what you're capable of, and doing the hard things is really important. And knowing that you're more than what you might have been told or what even you told yourself, that you are capable and you can do things that you never dreamt of doing, I think is really big for anybody to hear, but also looking back at myself and also, listen to your dad. He's not just being a jerk.
Yeah.
Honor your parents. They usually mean the best for you. It's my thing. I listened to a lot of people and other leaders and, trying to figure out what did you do wrong so I don't make the same mistakes. I would go out looking for that and kind of ignore the advice that was right in front of me and try to find that part myself.
Very, very great words of advice.
Thank you.
Very glad you came on the podcast. Thank you for being here. Dalton, Ricky, any final thoughts?
Oh, glad you came on, man.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's been fun. Appreciate it.
Once again, we'll put all of the links below for your company. If you're looking for a roof, feel free to hit them up. But that is the M3 podcast. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the M3 Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Want to learn more? Check us out on Instagram at Moss Marketing Group, on Facebook at Moss Marketing 58, or on our website at mossmarketinggroup.com.